It's like fucking the.
You can keep this forever. It can be a memory that you have
What is it?
of this class. It's a mixtape that some guy gave us yesterday in front of the game.
Okay, well, sweet, thank you.
There's no profanity. There's no profanity.
Oh, that is so good.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You're on camera, Marty. It's your Hollywood moment. So this is my last time to record. So we're all going to be on camera. It's our last chance to go viral together and become YouTube stars.
Oh, Marty.
So, okay. So today we're going to go over the Holocaust. We're going to plow through the reading material a bit like we have been the last day or two so that we can get caught up so that you have time to watch your movie next week. I have a couple of activities planned for today. We'll see what there's time for due to the fact that we have to catch up. So, like I said, there's no kickoff. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to show you a quote. Hang on a second, please. I'm going to show you a quote, and then you're going to do what's called a storyboard. And basically, it's just going like this. I'm not a really good drawer. You can make it as awesome as you want, you know. So you're going to have a quote from Hitler that you're going to get off the screen. And then what I want you to do is imagine that he's giving a speech, because it's a quote from a speech, right, where people are listening. Speaking of listening, you got me, Caleb? Yeah. So Hitler's talking, he's saying all this nasty stuff. And then what I want you to do is I want you to draw 3 people, and again, it can be as simple as I'm doing, because I don't really draw well, or I've noticed a lot of you are really good at drawing. You can make it, beautiful and fill in all kinds of details. And then I want you to, have you seen like in comic books and stuff, right? There's like the dots, and then there's a circle above there, and it gets you like what they're thinking in their head. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, is everyone familiar with that idea? So what you're going to do is you're going to draw 3 people with the kind of dots, or you can make it your own. You don't have to do it exactly like I'm doing. But the idea is I want you to have 3 different people respond to Hitler's quotes with what they're thinking, as if they're standing there listening to the speech. And one person's response is going to be that of a Jewish person. The other person is going to be that of a Nazi. Is everyone clear what I mean by that? Like someone that's into Hitler's ideas, right? A Hitler supporter? Or awake? Yeah? And then, thank you, Lily. And then the third person is going to be an anti-Hitler German. So a German citizen, someone who is not in danger of being persecuted by Hitler, but are not in favor of his policies. So that's what that blank piece of paper is for. I'm going to show you the quote. Does anybody have any questions? We're just going to spend a couple minutes doing it. There's long as, 3, 4, 5, depending. Anybody have any questions? Misunderstandings about that? Misgivings? Okay, so Kelly, if you would, it should be the Hitler quote. Let's see if I can get this to work on the first try. It never does. There we go. Okay. So go ahead and put your name on the blank piece of paper so that I can collect it in lieu of your kickoff. And then it's a very short quote. If we had more time, I would show you some of his speeches and get a feel for his intensity and how scary he was and why he got people behind his ideas. He was a very persuasive speaker. Yeah, I think he was pretty short, actually. Yeah. You're saying you didn't expect him to be tall? I know, same, yeah. But that's kind of part of what he made up for it, I think, with his attitude, you know what I mean? Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so here we go. So can we all pay attention to this for a minute? So here's him, he's speaking. This is before the Holocaust has started, before World War II has officially started. He's speaking and he says, Europe cannot find peace until the Jewish question has been solved. One thing I should like to say on this day, the 6th anniversary of being appointed Chancellor, which may be memorable for others as well as for us Germans. In the course of my life, I have very often been a prophet. He thinks pretty highly of himself, right? And have usually been ridiculed for it. Today, I will once more be a prophet. If the international Jewish financiers in and outside Europe should succeed in plunging the nations once more into a world war, so who is he saying is responsible for the last World War, and who will be responsible for the next one? You're saying. Thank you, Aiden. Yes. He's blaming the Jews for the past war and claims that although they're 1% of the German population, they're going to finance the next war, is his idea. So, where were we? Okay. the result will be not the Bolshevization, meaning not like turning into communism, the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. So the result won't be that we go communist of the earth, and then the result will not be the Bolshevization of the earth and thus the victory of the Jews. He's saying the Jews won't win by financing the next war. He said that the result will be the annihilation of the Jewish race in Europe. Okay? So you're standing there, hang with me for a second, Mike. You're standing there, and Hitler just gave this speech where he blames the Jews for World War I. He says they're trying to finance World War II. And he says if they do, the result is going to be the annihilation of the Jewish race. He's saying all the Jews will be wiped out and killed. So what I want you to do is this right here. I want you to put yourself in the body, in the place of a Jewish person. Yeah, do it. Write it out then. You don't know how? I can help you. Write a response from the Jewish person, write a response from the Nazi, and write a response from the German who is not pro-Hitler. He's just kind of a regular dude. Exercise is just to have empathy. Empathy meaning to be able to relate to someone else's experience. Yeah, she got it. Check on her. So, I mean, the idea of history isn't just to memorize dates and places and dudes with weird names we can't pronounce and how many people died. To understand history, you need it's the ability to empathize, to understand the stories, and that these are people's stories. They're actual, real people with feelings and experiences, and that is the point of this exercise. There is a really cool program that you can do for free online if anyone's into this kind of stuff, because I noticed there's a lot of artists in here, and it's called Storyboard. I was going to have you do it, but we're running out of time. You can actually like make a digital cartoon for free. You know, you can put in characters and colors and quotes, and it's pretty cool. I see a lot of you that like to draw might really enjoy that. It'd be a good skill to have. Raising your hand, Spencer?
I wish that paper had like emojis so I could put like the shake my hands.
Okay, so what I'm saying is,
Something that would be bright with emojis. So I could put emojis and then wait, visual field. German, that's not
standing there, you're Jewish. It's like, exactly. So what we oh my God, I have to go to my family and run. You know what I mean? So the idea is to love is scared thought in a Jewish person's head. And then that's okay. Yeah, let's do this. We got this. We're just gonna mull it down. And then you have like your average German citizen, not a bad person, has no problem with Jews, doesn't really like Hitler.
Oh, right in my
What would that person like you? You're a nice guy, right? You're saying, what would you think? Like my neighbors are Jews. Why are we trying to kill them all? Does that make sense? So it's like very different perspectives. And it's in one sentence. It's not a big writing. So it's something as simple as, you know, there's your dude, here's your Jewish thing. One sentence. And the same thing with the Nazi, and the same thing with the regular German. Even one sentence, one thought that would capture their emotional experience. Yeah, let me look at anything else. Thanks. Did you put your name on it?
Yeah, on the back.
Okay.
I'll read it.
I do actually, yes. I'm a little distracted. That's perfect. That's exactly what would be happening. Yeah. I mean, that's the reason we're doing this exercise is that actually happened. Like Hitler would give speeches before the war started, and there would be Jews standing there because they're like, they consider themselves Germans, you know, and then there'd be like Nazi thugs there, wannabe gangsters, and then there'd be the, well, that's what they were.
Shit, the old guy's probably president.
and then there would be, so that's perfect. Hang on that for now. If we have time, we're gonna do something else.
Dude, I can't keep
This is great. I really appreciate all the artwork and all the thoughts. I feel like there's a couple different takes on it, and I think it's great that everyone has their own interpretation of what's happening here. And something that I just learned from Lilia is that I always thought of the Nazi as the angry person, but what Lilia did is she drew the regular German as angry, and I think that's really cool because there would have been, you know, if I was a German at that time, my neighbor was Jewish, I would be angry. I hadn't really thought of that. That was a really good insight. Okay, so I think in the interest of time, I'm going to show you a video clip. It's of Auschwitz. Has anyone heard of Auschwitz? It's kind of a pretty infamous place. Auschwitz, it's a concentration camp. Okay, so this is like a 5-minute video that's about that. And if you need to continue working on your storyboard, your cartoon thing, you're welcome to do that. So we're going to get into this now. Thank you, guys.
Watching as events unfold and not dealing adequately with those.
There it is. So why do you think when they showed up, why do you think they took all their possessions, shaved their head, gave them a uniform, and tattooed them? Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you keep it down, Mike? Yes, that is true. A lot of those things will happen to you in prison. And what is the point of that activity? I mean, who gets branded? Is it typically people, or is it more like cattle? Cattle. So they're dehumanizing them. They're stripping them of their humanity. In a way, they want to control them that way. But also, I feel like it makes it easier for the guards to treat them as less than human, right? If they're going to abuse these people, they're going to torture them, they're going to watch them starve to death, and they're going to kill them. I think it's easier for the German soldier if he sees these people as less than human, don't you think? Doesn't that make sense? All right, well, I had a mock Auschwitz activity I wanted to do. I was going to line you up and separate you. Because what happens when you walk, we're not going to have time, so I just want to tell you something really quick, and then we'll just plow through the material so that you're on track to watch the movie next week. What happened when you came to a place like Auschwitz, you would line up, and there would be a doctor there, and they would just be like, this way, that way. And if you went that way, you were put to death. You were determined that you weren't good free slave labor. Maybe you're old, or you're handicapped, or whatever it is, you know, or you're a child, and they don't need little hands. And then the able-bodied, you know, would go that way, and then they would do the forced labor, and the people that went that way would be put to the gas chambers, and they knew it. They knew exactly what it meant to be put in that line. And it's a pretty dark episode in humanity. And I had an activity that went with that, but I feel like we're not going to have time. I'm going to leave you too far behind, unfortunately. But I just want you to be aware of that when you went to a place like Auschwitz, they stripped you of your humanity. And then they divided you into who could work and who was just, in their opinion, better off just dead, who they weren't going to waste food on. Yeah. You feel like you'd rather be dead than endure those? Yeah. Yeah, okay, so hey, Aiden just brought up a really interesting point, and this is a question that, Mike, stay with me. This is a question that, what's that, Aiden? So, Aiden just brought up a really good point. Does anyone feel like, almost like they'd be relieved if they got put in the death line, or they'd rather be dead than endure the concentration camp? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad choice either way, right? Bad choice. Okay, well, this topic, it deserves a lot more, so. What's that?
Either way, the death is gonna be where it came from.
That's right. There's really no good option. So next week, Ms. Gill will be showing you Schindler's List, and you'll get a lot more in-depth analysis and understanding of that. So, but in order to do that, we have to cruise through section 3 of the Holocaust. So altogether, if we could, please, we'll be on page 502, I'm just gonna use the reading list that was good made for me yesterday, because we just don't have a lot of time. We're gonna cruise through it, I want you to listen. We're on section 3, the Holocaust, page 502.
We didn't.
Can I have the worksheet
You were
back?
here.
You need a worksheet for 3?
Yes.
Everybody else have their section 3 worksheets? I didn't hand you this when you walked in?
No, you said you were going to, but never gave it to me.
That sounds like me, huh? I forgot. Okay, so we're all on page 502. I'm gonna go off this reading list that Ms. Good made for me yesterday, because we don't have a lot of time, which means, Haley, you're reading first, please. And it's page 502, setting the stage. Thank you.
As part of their mission for Europe and to fulfill the initial order, they proclaimed that the German peoples were administrated 6 within the state of the two countries. The term actually refers to the Europeans
We have the who question. Who were the victims of the Holocaust? So go ahead and write it in. I'm sure we all know by now who the victims were. There's plenty of answers, but they gave you one. We'll review some other ones. I think we all. Okay, so we all know, right? We all know that the Jews were the victims of the Holocaust. So who were the members of the master race then? If the Jews were the victims, according to Hitler, we want the answer? Did you do anything? Who were the members of the master race according to Hitler? Well, his own people, right? I mean, he thought he was the man, right? You know, he had a little short complex. So we all have an answer then?
No.
No? Okay, so if Hitler is a German and he says the Jews are, you know, subhuman and deserve to be killed, but my team is on top biologically, then the Germans. Okay, so everybody get that? Aiden, you good? Right, so the Jews were the ones targeted, the Germans were the master race. Can you get that filled in there? Alright, okay, so then the next section that needs to be read is the Holocaust began.
Jewish homes, businesses, and synagogues across Germany, and murdered close to 100 Jews. An American in Leipzig, where Jewish shop windows by the hundreds were systematically smashed. The main streets of the city were positive litter of shattered plate glass. It is for the reason that the night of November 9th became known as Kristallnacht, or Night of Broken Glass. A 14-year-old boy described his memory of the awful night. Kristallnacht marked a major step up in the Nazi policy of Jewish persecution. The future for Jews in Germany is truly grim.
Thanks, Jacob. So you need to answer what happened on the night of November 9th, 1938. And if you look at the bottom of page 502, that was just explained to you. You can write down what that night was referred to as. You can write down what happened during that night. Right? Did you catch that word? The night of? Right, Aiden? Everybody good on that? They're hitting you over the head with it. They're saying the date and the name right there. So let's keep moving since we want. Okay, so they ask about the final solution in number 2, but that's going to come a little later. So let's get to a flood of refugees. I have Mike reading on 503, a flood of refugees. Now, I want to mention, they're going to ask you, this question is, where did they migrate to? Where being the key word, it means you want to listen for the names of countries while Mike is reading. And whatever countries you hear him read would probably be good to use as answers. So go ahead, Mike.
After Kristallnacht,
Yep.
some Jews realized that violence.
Can you read it a little more fluidly? It's a little disruptive.
No, I got this story.
Okay.
Against them was
Mike, I'm really not about to play these games right now. Can you read like a normal fucking person?
Outside of that one word, I really appreciate your backup.
by the end of 1939. A number of Germans had fled to other countries. Many, however, remained in Germany later. They conquered territories in which America.
And you've all heard it and I've wondered where it came from. from? Where were the Jews forced to live?
Ghetto.
Thank you. Everyone's familiar with that term, right? We use that today when referring to unsafe neighborhoods in our inner cities. Yeah? Anyone spent a lot of time in a ghetto? Me? Doesn't have much to do with Grass Valley, I can assure you.
Yeah.
Where were the concentration camps? Did they actually say that yet? Is anyone paying attention? Because the book jumps around a little bit. We'll just keep moving and I'll help you find that answer. Now, the final solution is the next thing to read. And as many of you pointed out, we didn't answer that for number 2. So your third question in number 2 is going to be answered right here in the final solution. And Joanne, if you please.
Hitler's Stalingrad invasion leading produced to die from starvation or disease. He decided to take more direct action. His claim was called the final solution. It was actually a program of genocide that systematic killing of the entire people.
Okay, let's just pause there for a second. So what did Joanne just read to you? What did she just